Oh, I beat them back, guys. Quick, everybody type a bunch of crap into the channel. Make them all freak out because they are late. Holy crap, look at that. Blank screens. Oh, here comes Chris. He's got his beer. Let's see. We're beating John. John's already been beat back. Man. No, Andrew, you're... Oh, John's back. Did he get his drink?
We're back. We're back. Hold your horses, man.
All right, guys. Welcome to episode...
Kathy, what episode is it?
7,042.
Oh, wow.
Kathy's not here to remind us, guys. So we're at episode something or other. What, 37?
7,472.
7,472.
Asked and answered, Gonzo.
So I will say we skipped 35.
Did we really skip a 35?
It looks like we skipped 35. Let me double check here real quick. No, we did 35. That was Tectonic. So we're on 37.
We're on 37. Okay. Yeah, also, guys, Necromiles is in the audience. We want to thank him for doing the Hobby Streak Facebook page. Necromiles, we will be pushing and putting you within the Artisan Academia. We just got a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah.
And linking you within that because we think that is an amazing idea to go it. And we really appreciate you doing that Facebook page. That has really helped out a lot of people. Also, I love seeing other people's work. And if you do join the Artisan Academia, you are allowed to post anything you want in there. If you have ideas, you have questions, you want to show your work off, you are more than welcome to do it. We are going to be doing a hobby challenge. I posted it up.
I saw that.
And I will provide the models. And what's going to happen is we're going to do a speed painting challenge on air after I get the people their models. And we will then give away the models online. So with that said, today's episode is all about Mekanika Studios. And before we do that, we have to do our tradition back from the old Menace John days. Chris, what are you drinking tonight?
It is nice and warm outside, so I'm drinking summer shandies.
Summer Shandies. Fruit Loops! That's what they remind me of the taste of, is summer shandy. Those things remind me of Fruit Loops.
You know, I don't really drink a whole lot of fruity beers, but this one is like the right when it's hot out. So
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
I'm normally an IPA guy, and I honestly hate the fact that this is a twist top. I'm insulting myself, to be honest with you.
We won't.
I
hold
want to
it
make fun of
against
me right now. So, but it is what it is.
John, what are you drinking tonight?
well, I just finished off my screwdriver, so now I have. I'm not going to call it a new concoction, but something I started making earlier this week. That is ginger ale and Fireball, which is quite tasty too. And then I'll have a little more of Dr. McGillicuddy's apple pie because, God, this stuff's so good. I could get another bottle of this. I just drink this shit straight.
I am going with my old BB Vanilla Porter. Such a lovely drink. Such an awesome drink. So we thank you for coming in and joining us. It's greatly appreciated. If you're new to the stream, make sure you hit a follow up there. That way you can see when we're on. Other than that, thanks for coming, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's tasty.
That's good. So, today's episode is all about Mekanika Studios. If you missed some of the pre-ramble, I've known Chris for quite a long time. And the podcast itself has actually hired Chris to do something for us. And so we wanted to bring him on the air to show what he's done for us and what he's done not only for his company, but what he's done for the community. So it'll be pretty interesting. So Chris, give us a little bit of information. What is Mekanika Studios?
Well, what do you do when you can do anything? Kind of started as a tray company for War Machine boards stuff, but basically I was the company that started its first interchangeable tray system that you can buy and not have to feel like you're pigeonholed into a particular fitting on carrying your miniatures around. So basically, my system allows you to interchange different sub-trays out to cater to a different army, different list style, different play style. And then the next event, you can switch it up and it can play to your next army. So it helps people with multiple factions with multiple list styles and plays. And so, one day you're playing trolls, and the next day you want to play cricks, and you're going to need the total difference of those, 40 to 30 millimeter base sizes. So my tray systems do that. Kind of always been a hobbyist, so I made some paint racks that we sell on my website as well, and delved into doing some custom trophies for events over the years. And that really started the next chapter in my company of basically getting into teaching myself how to do 3D modeling. I invested into a 3D printer. So all of that, all of the trophies and such that I currently make now are originally 3D printed, resin casted. And then I just actually recently bought a different machine that's it's gonna change some stuff. And it's pretty exciting of what's about to happen. So unfortunately, I don't have anything to show off yet, but I think it's good if you can potentially put yourself out of business with your new stuff that you're coming out, and that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to make my old stuff obsolete with what I'm about to do. So,
Damn, that sounds exciting.
Xander made up a really good point, and I think it's where you really got your name out there is your tables that you made. The tables you would bring down for War Machine Weekend, and of course would be sold before you got them down there. Where what everybody freaked out and we're like, oh, what's that? Ooh, because I remember the convergence table you made with the dry ice machine, the moving parts, the LEDs, everything. That table was insanely crazy. That one was badass.
And
that was a solid year in the making.
To me, yours has always been a thing of legend where, when I first got in the hobby, I'm sort of a latecomer to War Machine Hordes compared to you guys. Listening to Lost Hemisphere Radio, them talking about War Machine Weekend and your tables were always like what I would hear. They would always just sing your praise. It was awesome. And then I got to see one in person, the one War Machine Weekend I went to, which is cool.
Which one did you see?
I'm trying to remember. It was 3 years ago now. It was...
Was it the Iron Kingdoms one where it was like a lot of the buildings and the gears on the side of the building moved? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That one was awesome.
I mean, all the pictures I've seen were awesome, but...
yeah. Painted each one of those stinking cobblestones by hand.
Oh.
But that was a really fun table.
Yeah, I remember it was every year because I was like, what table are you working on? And you show me a little sneak peek of it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. And stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We also want to do everything. We always want to thank all our sponsors before we get started. Of course, Broken Egg Games for sponsoring the main podcast. Chris is a sponsor, of course, for our pre-ramble. And Dan from Tectonic Craft Studios sponsors the media section. Guys, we're going to be moving away from doing Facebook Live stuff because we want to be more onto the Twitch area. So you may hear some beeps and whistles and stuff from people donating or people raiding or whatever. Just go with it. It's a lot of fun. Plus, if you get to hear a raid, you get to dance with some fun music. So other than that, Chris,
or someone subscribes.
Or someone subscribes. Yes, if someone subscribes, is even better. If you have a Amazon Prime account, is it still?
Yeah, Amazon Prime. You can link it to your Twitch account and be Twitch Prime member, and you get one free subscription a month. Which is why if you look at my name in the chat room, I got all sorts of little things next to me. Because the crown is Twitch Prime, the star is subscriber, and of course the green sword of smiting people for moderating.
Yeah, which we have now activated. Oh, there we go.
Thanks, Solasar.
We appreciate Solasar. It's a lot of help for us. We appreciate that, Solasar. That is amazing for you to do that. It helps us out a lot. We are now actually also included our own currency, so you can play games or you can get things, or when we start doing giveaways pretty soon, you'll be able to use your currency to add more tickets to the giveaway. So you just won't be random guy 101 wins everything. If you are a regular listener, you can add more tickets to it and up to a certain amount based on how much you watch. And if you want to know how many tickets or points you have, you do exclamation point dice in the chat and it'll let you know. With that, let's go ahead and go into these. There you go. John Spencer, unranked.
I
It
don't
says
know,
how
I'm
long
pretty
was.
rank.
Chris sent us a bunch of slides, a bunch of pictures to talk about his work, which I think is a really amazing thing to see. And at the end of it, he's going to show the stuff he did for us. And I'm really excited about it. So let me switch over to the next screen. And all right, Chris, go ahead. What is this first thing?
Yeah. So this is just kind of some of the process. This is more of the design side, where Mechanica has been growing, less more of like accessories for the tabletop stuff, but more for the back end design work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I work with Adam at Broken Egg pretty much every day of the week. We do a lot of really really fun stuff together. And this one was some of the initial concepts we did for the last Adepticon, and we were trying to come up with some unique three-dimensional dials. I don't know if you guys have seen the ones at Captain Con, but we'll have some of those shots coming up here soon. But this is just some of the where everything kind of starts with what I do. Starts with a sketch, and so these were some of the basically a customized dial that whatever you wanted to use for, but it was kind of themed after 40K a little bit with the bolters and skulls and the chaos emblem and whatnot. So, but everything that we start to work on has to kind of be fleshed out, and so this is some of the original sketches that start a project, and so this is kind of like where it all begins, so to speak. So that's what this particular slide is.
I've got the slide and we'll go for it.
So there it evolved into the tri-dial that we did for Captain Con, but we wanted to do something kind of for each event, as an incentive for people to come into Broken Egg's booth. And so this basically took it to the next step of like how we wanted it fleshed out. And so the base of it is 3D modeled, and then I basically sketch into the interior, knowing what those dimensions are to kind of model that out. And so, once it's past that roughing stage, I get it into a little bit more of like a refined, like what it has to kind of be specifically and fit into. So that's basically the next progression, is a little finer, cleaner, pencil line. And from there, I pretty much, I start tracing it in a 3D program and start fleshing that out and actually making the variations of the elevations and, the rock structures and cracks and such. So, and then boom, that's the actual, this is rendered in Photoshop. And so that's what some of the new stuff that I've been doing is taking the ability to make a full color three-dimensional object with some of the machinery that we have. And so after we 3D print or sculpt and then resin cast, we have a machine that can basically run, direct to ink or direct to substrate, and basically make a dimensional object full color. And that's how we get those Captain Con and the chaos dials, the way that they're looking. So a lot of really cool, fun stuff that's going to be coming down with more products like that. This particular piece, this was a really, really fun set that we worked on. Was for Age of Sigmar for the terrain markers. And so we had to do one for each of the categories, which was 6 of them, and you'll see them all. But again, you'll see everything that it starts with, kind of a pencil sketch and fleshed out to kind of make sure we have the right balance. I have to determine, I'm pointing at a screen, which you guys can't see. But
Don't worry, we all do that. Look, over on this corner and this corner.
Right there. It's right there. So this was, everything kind of has to make sure that we occupy the right kind of spacing. So because I come from a printing background, I do all the production and film and stuff for Broken Egg. And so everything that I design, I basically know how things finish out on the back end. I don't do his film, but um, so basically the shape around it is basically knowing that what space it's going to occupy. But this is the arcane template, and if you switch to the rendered one, it's actually one of my favorite. Like the colors that popped on that. So, but actually, sent you a previous version. It's actually not that updated.
Oh, well, that's when you.
You can only blame me, right?
Hey, you sent him to me.
I know. Huh? So this is the damned token. Really really fun one. You get to work on, and the rendered version looks really sick. But drawing this one was awesome because I was like, man, how many like death spikes can I put into this?
All the spikes.
I know, all of the spikes, all of the death. So, that one turned out really well. And this was, believe it or not, like this is when I came and worked with Broken Egg. They had an artist that they were using for some of their. He would like top line finish rendering stuff out, and a guy named Mitch Malloy, and I got to give a shout out to him because that dude leveled me up way beyond. He's done some stuff for Magic the Gathering. I know he's done cards, specifically what I can't say off the top of my head, and I believe he was working for League of Legends and did a number of their characters and such. He's just a super solid guy. He's really sweet, very very generous on like offering perspective and such. And so this was one of the pieces that I put in front of him, and he's like, "Yeah, you got it. Boom, you're done. Nailed it." Like, so this is kind of exciting to kind of get to work and get to see a little bit of validation for spitting in front of the computer, like shading it just right and everything. So, but
he's done some really good stuff. I found him here real quick on Google. He's got some very good artwork.
Yeah, his DeviantArt page is stupid good. So, my favorite one, he's got this like, it looks like World of Warcraft. He's got this like troll kind of like dude down in what's that peninsula with all the like the Booty Bay and the jungle in World of Warcraft. There's that area. It's like an Aztecan kind of jungle. Anybody play World of Warcraft?
No, I don't
know. Never had.
Not a long time. I know what you're talking about.
But he's got this troll guy like sitting on this like Aztecan throne, and the lighting on it is like it's so.
Yeah, he's in shadow, and the light's just sort of coming on the front of him. Yeah, that picture's right here. It's I'll share that in the chat room real quick.
Stranglethorn.
Yeah. Just.
Thanks, Banyan. Yeah, you play a little bit of that, don't you?
So again, this is the deadly token. Real rough, real basic. This is kind of like flesh it all out. Switch to the next one.
It's got the deadly.
Yeah. So then, this was kind of like this portion of it. I started it pretty, but kind of colored it too bright. But I like dialing it back here where it looked like there were some leaves and kind of overhang of like branches and such to kind of look like you're in like a really dense place that your next step could be like the wrong step. That's what I was trying to convey with that particular kind of terrain feature. That where you're at is not friendly, and it shouldn't feel like like you're in a good place that you want to be. So sometimes there's a lot of tricks and thought that has to go into like conveying something visually as best as you can, especially when at the end of the day it's an 1.5 inches wide.
Yeah.
So, truthfully, a lot of the stuff that especially the privateer press line, like those tokens, there's so much more stuff to see, but because it's small enough that you as the artist, you're kind of sad that you don't get some of that stuff shown off like you'd like it to. This one was really fun, the inspiring one. He's trying to think of like everything happy and valor, like awesome.
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 So I want to talk about this because I mean it's different. Your drawing one has got a lot of detail and a lot of hashing and a lot of shadowing, and then here it's colored shadowing and like I don't want to say there's lost detail, but like there's no gem in the drawing one compared to it, and there's a little off. Is it because of the size of it that you have to just kind of like I have to take that out because it's not going to look good?
Oh yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that gem, when it would be printed, is like less than a 64th of an inch.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's
So it's like, how are you even going to see the light fractions on that?
Yeah.
So, and you know what? I get edited quite a bit. Right now, I'm working with Mike Valancourt from Privateer, and we're doing the Crucible Guard stuff currently, which I can't show, and I was sad that I couldn't. But even some of the stuff were like the initial concepts and the amount of rivets, and then like it comes back and he's like, nope, take it down from like 15 down to like 3, and you have to, because you're like, oh yeah, because when it's that small, that's funny. Excuse me. It's funny how you do it often enough that you think that kind of stuff would be like obvious, but you still. It's always good to have another eye on it. But
yeah,
Mike's doing a good job. So this one was really fun because I didn't know how to like convey mystical per se, and so I really kind of thought of like an Egyptian scheme. It didn't quite convey entirely to the colored version, but like this was one of the fun sketches for this set. But again, like a lot of like the little leather lines and straps and such like that, like you had to dial it back because
it just wouldn't look good printed out on an inch wide token.
Yeah,
on a tiny token it would be.
On a big, on a big poster or piece, something like that, it would look super rad, but it just kind of gets lost. So, and that's the one thing that you don't want to do is like if your tokens are so over rendered and over texturized. And I feel like that was kind of like my big level up point with like, started working on stuff with Broken Egg and Mitch was like learning how to stop adding detail and convey like what you need to convey, Yeah,
because you actually showed me this token right here and made sure, hey, does this look okay? Or can you read it? And because the next one is what it came out to be. And I actually saw one before this, and I was like, it's kind of a little bit too hard to see, but it was a different version than this one. Or read, I should say.
Right. This is a good piece to talk about because this is that quintessential, like trying to convey something artistically in a theme, knowing that you have to sell it and it has to be like super legible. So the idea of the backwards S on something sinister that somebody is like not in their right mind, and that's the type of theme and feel that you're kind of like, trying to convey on it. And so you have to have that argument of like, sometimes would a customer complain about like that when you're trying to like, hey, I'm trying to be an artist about this, and that balance between sellable, what's legible, and then still honoring like at least your thought process and the the whole process behind the theme of it as well. So this one we probably talked to the sinister one. We talked about like I'd say at least 10 or 15 people of like, if you look at this, can you read this and do you think this is legible and what does this convey? So a little tight circle of people, opinions that matter.
My opinion doesn't matter.
We didn't listen to yours.
I know. Like, fuck Gonzo, he don't know shit. What is this one? 'Cause this looks like a 3D render that you were doing.
Yeah. So this is some new stuff that I'm starting to do. Shout out to Trevi up at Breachstorm.
Ooh, yep.
This is the new client that I started working with. Trevor is awesome. I've yet to meet him in person, but every time we do our or Skype sessions, he's a super, super awesome dude. I really, really like working with him. I really hope that like his game just goes bananas.
We had him on the podcast to talk about the beta and stuff, and a lot of our viewers are desperately waiting for the full release and looking at his stuff. So I mean, seeing that he's working on terrain pieces with you and stuff is really good because that means he's moving forward. It's not just stagnant
Oh
like
yeah,
some games are.
yep, yeah, and that's what like when I work with a client, I require them to do a certain amount of steps so that one, we're not wasting time. And Trevor is hands down the best client I've ever worked with, because when I go, hey, tell me about these people, tell me the background, give me some aesthetics, give me a purpose, give me a size, give me a scale, what are the end dimensions? Like, he has these like 12-page PDF write-ups that sometimes, and it's happened where I'm like, I'll ask him a question, he's like, Chris, it's on page 4, paragraph 3. And I'm like, oh, okay. So sometimes the artist in me shows a little bit where I get too visual. So these are some of the pieces where it's for his faction, the Zrenthal, the
Gotcha.
Space Cats.
The Space Cats.
Wait for someone to launch some Space Cats out here. But so we were trying to convey some of their building and style and architecture. And here's the real trick with 2D terrain, which I even told Trevor, like, I'm mad that I'm doing this because I personally loathe 2D terrain. Especially after making tables and things dimensional for War Machine, you're like, why would you ever go to that? But as an event organizer, getting to throw everything into a box,
Yep,
and pack up and leave, and piles and piles and tubs of styrofoam and stuff gets lost. So I understand.
And damaged.
Yeah. And damage and stuff. It's a necessary evil. And so at least with this, I wanted to do something where it was like a linear perspective, where you see multiple sides where you shouldn't. And so modeling everything out in 3D and then overcoloring stuff really helped me to kind of keep it in line, so that it should still like make sense, even though we're deliberately breaking rules of perspective here. How we see things, because the problem is like, some of the 2D terrain that's out there, you'll see buildings and it's a straight drop down thing, and all you see is like, a rooftop or shingles or something like that. Like, you don't really get a sense of the depth of the height of it by doing that. And so that always kind of bugged me. So it's like, how can we elevate this to the next step, and while using like a 3D program to kind of render this stuff, to kind of make sure that we're not wasting time on sketches either.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be right. So.
Because his game actually, his buildings and terrain is actually kind of set in stone. Buildings are certain sizes, everything's a certain measurement, so you don't have to worry about it.
Right. The templates for his terrain, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's this one from?
This is also with Breach Storm. So basically, the Zrenthal is like, like a very jungle-ish type thing. And so this is a particular terrain piece that it is rough terrain to walk through, and then also needs to convey that you can't just shoot through. So it's going to cater to melee-orientated, units. So doing the whole fog, mist, jungle thing so that it clearly looked like, if you didn't have the fog in there, like, oh, maybe I could have drawn a line of sight through this, but by adding that fog feature and that mist, helped to really convey, like, I can't shoot through this. So,
well, I also like it because it's a bunch of different textures. It's not just a tree; it's a different type of trees. The fern looks.
Right.
It's got a variety of terrain features, not just here's a blob of green. That's our forest.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is my favorite 2D forest I've seen, and I've got a couple. Just better depth and better variety of flora in there.
Yeah.
And the mist on top of that.
And
Gives
I
you a
did
sense of depth, yeah.
Yeah. I did try to, in this piece, this one we went probably back 4 or 5 times on, because I wanted to make sure that the floor bed of the forest should be the darkest shade, and your value should start getting lighter as trees that should be closer to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was what we try to convey with this particular piece. And I think after doing that, it really kind of struck home of like, yeah, there's some depth here. It's not just Chris found a bunch of random pictures on the internet and slapped it onto a Photoshop file. Called it good.
That's what I would do.
That's my favorite. It's my favorite thing. Sometimes a client will tell me like, well, can't you just like slap a logo on there? It's like, there will be no slapping of anything and any kind of thing that I do. So But
Well, this is like a
this one,
wall template.
yeah. So it's their linear obstacle, a fallen down tree, and then we wanted to keep conveying like some of the broken temple kind of rubble, so that when all the pieces out, they look like they belong in the same environment. So adding that, those features on this particular piece, just kind of brought it all together in the same family, so to speak.
It's like
And then
wall.
again, a little bit. Yep, another one just dialed back. So these ones are really fun too. These rock pieces in the temple, more broken fragments and such like that. So.
Oh, there's the colored one.
Yeah. Right. So there's like the flame temple kind of thing. It's supposed to be able to convey that everything is, the spires and everything are tall enough, you can't walk through it, and so, but you can be able to. No, I don't think you can see through this either. So,
no. Not according to his terrain rules.
Yeah, it totally feels like on a board, sight unseen, not seen rules. I would say I don't think I can go through that.
No, yeah.
I think I have to go around that. There's no fire bad.
And then this
one temple was really fun. Yeah, and so it's funny because every time I'll do something, I have to deliberately make myself walk away from the screen and come back and kind of always get what's my first initial impression. And I was pretty happy with where it was at. I started working on other pieces and came back to this one, and I'm like, it I immediately recognized it needs more. So this one is definitely not done. Some more details on the sides of that building to kind of.
Xander says that he likes that you've added depth to your terrain pieces. It's not just a flat looking thing, which I think is different on the 2D terrain pieces. We understand why we have them. We understand why we need them. But it doesn't mean that they have to be boring.
Yeah.
Right. This one was fun. Koi pond type thing. And the fun thing, the nice thing about all this stuff is like, we're not done because we still are going to do a passover on everything with like tech still being involved, because we want some of these cobblestones to be eliminated. So you see like piping and lights and such, because that particular faction is kind of like almost like a Native American type mentality, where it's like, they can advance, but they can still kind of respect the environment it's in. And so we want to mix some of their technological advancements without like it looking like they just deforested an entire section or something like that. So, what's fun is these that they're not even really done. So,
is this their symbol?
This is the Zerenthal, the faction symbol logo. I'm really pleased with this, how it came out. So, this one was a fun piece to color. And then the Homeworld Confederacy faction. This one was also really fun.
I like that. I like that logo. That looks really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, here's that dial.
I dig that.
Yeah, so that's the Captain Con dial. Basically the 3D work that I do.
There's the full one.
Piece. Yeah.
I remember when that came out, because that was on your website.
Right. And then there's the Chaos one.
Yep. Yeah, this is really interesting because it was. People don't know that you don't just do War Machine and Hordes and miniature stuff. And what is this?
Right. So this is a labor of love, and it's actually starting to take off. I can't say anything until papers are signed and whatnot, but this is a local microbrewery that, man, after doing some of the trophies and such, and then seeing tap handles that people make, and they just look dumb. That I walked into this particular facility, and I was like, "Yeah, my name's Chris. Here's some pictures of what I do, and I think we can do something way better." And the guy didn't even know me from Adam, and so I've done about, I'd say 300 tap handles with him, because he started distributing.
Dang.
Around Kansas City, Missouri, and then they just picked up the Kansas side. So now they picked up like 6 more distributors, and who knows from there. But getting to kind of court other microbreweries and such. So really, it's the same process that I've been doing with tabletop games and trophies. That now it's kind of turning into doing stuff for local microbreweries. And this is a really, really fun like medium to work with. So, you know, the kind of the creativity and the advertisement that you can put into it. Because I mean, if you ever go to you know, a tap room or a bar or something like that, sometimes you totally will make a decision on what you want to try to drink just based off of the look of a tap handle, whether you've even tasted it or not.
That's how I choose beers. I'm not gonna lie.
Right? Yeah. So I mean, like once you kind of explain that to clients, they're like, you know, that makes a lot of sense. So at that point, people really do want to take the time to invest into making something pretty unique. And you know, that's a subject matter that I learned from Matt Wilson on I can't remember if it was like a No Quarter article or I think one of the first press gang parties. That's when I first met him, and he had talked about like all of the warjacks, you know, have a very distinct silhouette, and that painted or unpainted, you will always recognize what warjack and what faction it is from the silhouette. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so from there, I kind of took that kind of like little tidbit of knowledge and help to what I'm doing with tap handles of like, you know, people should understand who you are from just like the basic silhouette of like what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
are these the 3D printed?
No, so that's a finished product, start to finish, sketch to modeling, casting. I hand paint sections of these. Obviously, I didn't hand paint that branding on there, but the cinder block, the wood pattern, all of that stuff is done in house, and so that's, you know, some of the work that I've done. You know, this is a fun subject.
So this is, of course, this is the Grimkin symbol, and you work with Privateer Press closely on this, because I remember you and I were talking about when we were working on our product that they're, I don't want to say picky, but they're very adamant of what they want, and they tell you pretty well, like, no yay type thing.
Well, sure. And you would get that with FedEx.
Yeah.
You know, Apple.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, they want to make sure that they're conveying the right texture, feel, look, and whatnot. Because one, you know, you don't want to have a confused customer.
No.
As to what they're, you know, what they're purchasing or the look and feel to it. So, but so this is just some of the initial concepts that were sketched and put before them, and then you'll see obviously there were some changes and stuff that were brought in with it because it was either too vague to really get, you know, the point across. So
is this the finished version?
Right. So that's the finished version without the text.
Gotcha.
And whatnot. So
because I have this token set.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
This one was like, I don't know how to say it, but like I think after everything that we had done, and then, you know, we finished all of the factions. Conversions was the last one before that, I think. And then, you know, because we did them all at once. This was the first kind of like brand new standalone away from like the big massive undertaking of doing all the tokens.
Yeah.
And got to do this, and I felt like we just blasted it out of the park.
Well, I know
the
that
look, feel, the colors, the everything. Just
yeah. Because the one thing I've noticed, and whenever I ask people about why they chose that token, the token sets, and the reason why they like the Broken Egg versions is because they're a larger format and they're much easier to read across from the board. And I think, do you have what's the next one? Like this stands out on the table. Mm-hmm. This doesn't look like, you know, generic token. The purples, the oranges, you know, it stands out when it's sitting next to the model that has the stuff. So the color pattern really pushes it.
As much as I like the wooden tokens, they're cool for you. For your opponent, they are not cool. They cannot read them. I've heard that a million times.
Correct.
Yeah.
And these are so distinct that they can be like, oh, I know, I can see there's something there. It's not just a wooden token of what the fuck is that?
Right.
And the coloring, like I says, whenever you're playing a game and you look and you see something this bright and vibrant, you can go, oh, what is that token? Oh, I can read it from here because the wording
Yeah.
is much bigger.
Yeah. Well, good. That means we did our job.
Yes.
So that's the intention. This one is my favorite token of the set.
Yes.
Of how everything came out. This was one of the, I'll ping Mitch and go, hey, what do you think of this? You have any critique or whatever? And it was like, nope, you did it. You're done. And obviously, don't get me wrong. It's not like we don't put things in front of, Privateer Press. This one, I think this was Ed Burrell's last project that I worked on with him.
Mm-hmm.
And even still, it was pretty minimal on, edits and things like that. And sometimes it's so funny, like it gets down into like, I don't think that rivet quite looks right. And at the end of the day, it's like no one even's going to see it, but it's funny, the irony of it all sometimes. So this is some more of the tap handle work that I'm doing. So this is another tap that we're going to be doing for a company, showing off some of the work that we can do.
It's got to be car themed in some way because that's
right.
like an engine block.
Right. Yep.
Motorhead. Beer.
So yeah, so many fun stuff. We're doing a train themed one that coming out with, and that one's actually a really, really fun project to do. So as time goes on, unfortunately, I can't show off everything quite yet. So, but that one's coming down the pipes.
Well,
get to show that boy off.
Because I know that you're working on, because y'all are, and I say y'all as in you do all the concept art and everything for all the token sets for Privateer Press, correct?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You do all the concept and all the stuff, all the token sets for Privateer Press, whatever faction coming out. So you're doing...
So when I came on with Broken Egg, there was a gentleman named Eric Gatz, East Coast. I've never met him. Seems like a really sweet guy. He started with some stuff, with kind of the basic layouts with them. So I think most of the War Machine ones, I did all of the concepts and sketches, and some of the Hordes ones. Some I don't even know who did the Troll Blood one. I had zero to do with that, other than the upkeep spell. Was I think the only thing that I did with that particular one. But yes, for now that all the faction sets are done and every single project going forward, yes, I do all of the initial pencil concepts for everything.
Gotcha. So you'll be doing Crucible Garden. We should be seeing. Do you know when we'll be seeing that?
Oh, it's very soon because it has to
be by lock and load.
Yeah,
So we should see those by lock and load.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are going to do well. Crucible Guard is super sweet, and I've not heard like Grimkin people are excited for, but I've not heard people excited for a faction like Crucible Guard in a long time.
Yeah. And so it seems like the rest of the stuff is stuff that I've worked with you on, because because I contacted Chris, guys. Since I've known Chris forever, we tried working with one of our guys that did all of our splash screens, and he just couldn't do what we wanted.
Yeah. Fair thinking to him, he did a lot of good stuff with our splash screens. And
correct. Yeah, correct. And he was a great guy, and he was doing it for free. We just sent him a couple of miniatures, and he was no negative about it. But what I wanted was something a little bit more elevated, and I knew to go to Chris, get with him, and him and I talked about some stuff of what we wanted to do to provide some stuff for our viewers and some things I think the community would need and use particularly. And so we've been working on this for 3 months almost?
Yep.
February, March, April. Yeah, almost a little over 3 months. And so I called Chris and I said, hey, we wanted to do our sets, and here's the thing. We want clockwork stuff and nature stuff in our thing to represent War Machine and Hordes. And so I said, all we got to do is make sure it has our logo on it, and this was the first thing he sent me. And so I was like, okay, that looks cool. I can see where you're going with it. What what else are you going to do with it? And he started sending me more stuff. And then he sent me this.
I have to actually kind of interrupt here because this is something I think in my line of work, like you as an artist, you have to be really, really careful about. And I've done really well sometimes and then really frustrated my client because sometimes people don't see, in fact, no, people do not see where it can be,
Mm-hmm.
and you're only showing like rough initial stages. And sometimes you can frustrate people because you're like, no, can't you just see the potential that's going on here? It's there. It's like, but you're expecting them to have the eye and what's going to go on. And so that is definitely in a response to like me sending you that sketch, and you're like, okay, keep going.
Yeah. And that's why I say keep going. But I had
Yeah.
faith in you to do that. That's the thing. Like I says, I've seen Chris's work. I know Chris's work, and I'm like, all right, I know this is a process. We're on step 1 of 50 billion, and this is where we got to step 2.
Right.
Yeah, and
So
then
yeah, that was where we're trying to get this like rock stone texture mixed in with like interlaced with like the gears and machinery.
mm-hmm.
And so at this point, like when we're in this kind of stage, we're just trying to establish like where's the primary focus going to be with just rough coloring.
Yeah.
And so if our eye is telling us that we're definitely focusing on the logo and the text with those colors, because that green and purple are complementary colors, like
Mm-hmm.
we know that we're drawing the right attention. So the rest will kind of work itself out, but at least the client is going to see that like we're hitting the right things that need to be hit so that the right focus is conveyed.
Yep. And so it's still rough. And what is this process? Because I didn't see this process. I don't know what this is. Is this just a layering process you're working on? Where it's the faded green, faded purple?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is when you're painting a miniature and you're doing all like your midtones and your base coating, and there's this point where you would rather have like wisdom teeth pulled than keep painting this thing. And then you get to a point where it's like you pass this particular hump of like shading and contrast and whatnot, and you're like, I am not going to sleep for the next 12 hours because now I am like, this is all coming together. It's like, it's this total night and day. So this like is the garbage part of like rendering logos and coloring and stuff, because you're basically just establishing rough peaks and valleys and kind of basic shading in the part of it. And so this is a very, very early on portion of it. And it's sometimes I'm hesitant to show people these types of steps because it looks like a big purple blob of garbage,
Yeah.
Like somebody just picked up an airbrush for their first time, type thing. So
looks like I added more detail.
Yeah, so then we're getting more cuts and contrasts and start really like delving things out.
Now, when you did this, did you do this with like a stylus and a thing, or
stylus and a thing?
A stylus and a pad, or was this all mouse on a screen?
No, I use a Wacom tablet, so it's like a pen tablet.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I use my mouse a lot too. It just depends on what angle I need to be at. Some of the stuff like you need to use the pen for,
mm-hmm.
and other stuff it's like it's muscle memory and you can just blast through it.
And this is the finished?
Yeah, that's a finished piece.
This is
so basically all of our values, all of our contrasts, all of our punches, everything are where they need to be. The focal point, the glows, the rocks, the texture, bringing it together.
And then you made one big screen and you're just putting the overlay of the widget Oklahoma
so
on
it's
it.
definitely appropriate for what we need to do, and you have to do this with different clients because you have to establish, you're like, okay, are you wanting to have me render 12 unique pieces, or can we find a way to make this economical and not have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Correct. Which is when I was like, no, if we can just take it and cut it into the different shapes, good for us because it makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah, so there's a big, huge piece of this thing that's all rendered out, like that full map. Kind of be a cool desktop screensaver.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is one of the products that I drew up and kind of gave you a concept, and then you tweaked it and did everything else on it. This is going to be what's going to be our tournament tracker. One of the things I've noticed is there's been a couple of people who have had this little small widget on their table to mark rounds and victory and control points. And I wanted something also to do for us. And this is what we came up with. It can be used for any game, particularly. It doesn't have to be War Machine and Hordes, but since that's the game we play the most, it can be used, the two sides are control points, and the top is the rounds. And, of course, all of these are going to be dry erase writable. So you can write on them. That was the one thing that Chris and I talked is like, there's got to be a spot that where I write control points 5 and 7 and then round 5 on the top. It's got to be able to wipe off with your hand, like all the other Broken Egg tokens. And this is one of the things we came up with. Yeah, so you can use a dry erase marker on these guys, Xander. So you can just use a dry erase marker and wipe it off as you go. With the new scenario coming out, I wanted flags. I was like, why don't we have 3D flags anymore? Nobody plays with any 3D flags.
I do.
Shut up, John.
I have some from Advanced Deployment I bought way back in the age, which actually brings it to how much things have changed in just a couple years I've been playing War Machine of Hordes.
Correct.
From those, which are just little simple base, stick it in, it's a flag, oh cool, to holy crap.
Yes. No, flags nowadays is usually just a little token, and I was saying I wanted a 3D flag.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like if you're at a super huge event, like if you're at War Machine Weekend, like we don't have flags for everyone, you get 2D printed tokens. We did that at our store once. That's fine.
Yeah.
But after that, we're like, sure, that works quick. We had to do it in a hurry. But now we got time. We want 3D flags.
Yeah. And so this is a concept that I told Chris about, and I was like, he came up. I said we wanted a flag, our logo on it, and then of course he came in on this, and he put these dice in the bottom to help, stick in the bottom easier. He put the dice on the top, and you said, are these going to be colored graphic on both sides? Did we make up a concept on that, or did you say you were gonna?
We can, we totally can.
Yeah.
So
that way, it's you see more than dice on both sides, not a black one. Because if anybody has any tokens, so the back. Oh, let's go back. The back is usually black, but we're talking about making these colored on both sides, so you see the art on both sides of it. Chris is working on that. And so with that, we came up with the whole thing. And the one thing we didn't talk about, it's in the bottom right-hand corner, is the objective marker. As a tournament player, I always forget what my objectives are sometimes and the damage on it. Instead of sticking dice next to it or a dial or something, I asked Chris to make writable areas on the objective marker.
We might as well. We still have dry erase markers left. Am I right?
Yep. So in the bottom right, you can see the objective marker where you can write Pathfinder on it, or heal or whatever. And then in the bottom, you can write how much damage it's taken if it doesn't get taken out in the first time. And yes, they're all dry erase, so you can wipe it off when you're done. And then the flag base is right below the flag.
And if you get a bunch of them, you're playing another game like 40K or something where you need to have them numbered or something. Hey, look, dry erase numbers.
Yep. So it can be used for anything. My thing is, we wanted our own Oklahomas. We wanted our own proxy bases, which is the 3 sizes. But the flags and the tournament tracker and the objective marker, I wanted because these are things that I'm going to use in a tournament. Especially the objective markers and the tournament tracker. It's had to be done.
This stuff's good. Most of the stuff's good in any game. I mean, 40K players laugh at us and our Oklahomas and our Idahos and all that. And I mean, dude, you don't understand. Sometimes you just need it.
Yes. It makes it quick, makes it easy, and you're done.
Yeah. Adam from Broken Egg made a sweet, sweet template for 40K. He called it a drop stick.
Mm-hmm.
he got a different artist do some really cool stuff. If you guys play 40K and Ernst, you got to check it out. But I know it did like really well at Adepticon, so you should check out some of the art that he did on that. But so I know that they do some kind of templates and such. I'm not a 40K player.
Yeah, there's not a lot. So Chris is almost done with this. He's got to add some color to some pips on the dice, and I think that was about it. Is what the one thing we had to finish. But we're pretty much done with this, and now it goes to Broken Egg. Broken Egg is going to be distributing and producing and having all of our stuff. And since we're an affiliate with them, you can buy all this stuff from their website, which helps us out a lot. And the way we're going to package this, we're not 100% sure yet. But we'll be selling, of course, like the Oklahoma and the objectives, I think is what we're thinking about in one single package. And then selling the tournament tracker by itself, the flags in a pack of 3, and the objective markers in a pack of 2 on their website. And we'll have a link with that. Of course, Chris will tell you that I'm not the most fun and easy person to work with on this.
That's not true.
No, it actually it wasn't. It wasn't a hard thing.
True. It's not. Yeah, no, it wasn't hard.
No, it wasn't hard. Chris and I have known each other for a long time, so I have a lot of faith in him when I say, "Hey, I want something that's combining on both." And so we were able to get this done. We're not sure when this is going to go live on Broken Egg's site, but we will have these available for y'all to purchase. And hopefully I will have some, of course not this week, but hopefully soon, so I can bring some to some conventions and show them up and put them up. Chris mentioned
I think we're doing our sample run early Monday, Tuesday.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
So at that point, it'll be in Adam's hands, and so I know that the first initial cuts, well, it'll be happening pretty quick. So,
telling you, we still need Oklahomas as business cards.
Well, actually, Chris and I talked about this. Chris, what can you put on the back of these templates and back of these objective markers and Idaho and Oklahomas?
Right. So we can actually, the way that we produce them, we can have text on the back. So we can put your Twitch, your Facebook, your contact information, whatever, email and phone number. And how this stuff will list out is that you'll typically, no, I'm putting your cell phone on there.
Yeah, no.
Just because that's how good of a client you were in this whole project. My buddy Gonzo, here's his cell phone number.
Give him a call.
Yeah. He likes talking to his clients.
He'll like talking to every single person that buys from him.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, we can put text basically on the back side of them. So essentially, it's 2 for 1. Because awesome. A lot of times people are like, "Hey, that looks," and that's the truth of like the tabletop accessory thing. It's like you pick your poison. It's whatever floats your boat. So it's like if somebody sees that, they're like, "Hey, where'd you get those?" And they will want to pick up maybe just the flags or maybe just the objective token. So the ability to put that text on the back so that someone says, "Oh, here's the website," blah blah blah.
Yep.
Go from there. So,
and we're looking to do some giveaways with this eventually once we get things done. I'm working with Adam right now. Adam has been a little under the weather, so he's working his hardest. So I'm not gonna argue or anything with him. So we will get these, and when we get those done, and I have a physical copy, I will definitely be showing them on the air. Other than that, it's almost 8:00. We need to do the giveaway. Chris, of course, being the awesome guy he is, has decided to give away a $50 gift certificate to Mekanika Studio. If you would like to be part of that giveaway and be a member of it, you need to type !more than dice into the chat, and that will put you into the drawing, and we will do that about midway through media section to make sure everybody can get in there and give enough time. So if you're listening, !more than dice, all one word, in the chat, and we will give it.
If you're watching on YouTube, it's too late. This was live. You should come watch us live.
Yes, you should watch us live or on Facebook.
We're not on Facebook.
I know. So, but we do post a video up there. So make sure you do that. Let's go ahead and jump over the media section. And we'll get started on our media section. I'm watching the giveaway, so make sure you type !more than dice, and that'll get you into the drawing. Other than that,
and just to clarify, it's not 15, it's 50.
Yes,
50.
50.
50. That's right.
50. Big moolah. So hopefully this giveaway will work.
Or 1 GW supplement.
1 GW.
All right, shots fired.
1 GW dice set.
Look, just because I play 40K doesn't mean I can't fire shots.
Oh yeah. So we'll be doing that. So get your thing in there real quick, and then we will get going. John, will you type that into the chat box so everybody can hear it, so we don't have to worry about it? So we're in the media section now. It is 8:00. Being the guest on the show, Chris, what is your first thing what media thing do you want to talk about today?
Music and TV show.
All right.
I guess I just finished Lost in Space last night.
Oh, I didn't even start
on Netflix. It's amazing. I think it's really, really good. I was like pleasantly surprised to the whole. I only have one complaint, and it doesn't give you away anything, but there is sometimes I feel like drama television gets a little too much like, here's a snippet for the story. Now let's talk about our feelings for 10 minutes. Another snippet to the story. I need to tell you about my feelings for another 10 minutes. So some episodes get into like feelsy episodes.
So you're saying it's a little CW at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. It's good to hear that you thought it was awesome, though, because my friends we were at lunch yesterday said it was good but not great. Like it never made you have to go see the next episode. So.
Oh, I thought. Yeah.
I like to
really
gather lots of opinions because I want to see it, but I just have
such
limited movie time, and I watch crazy crap instead. Coming up.
I think it's pretty cool because I feel like it wasn't linear. I didn't really expect what was going to happen next. And a lot of times, like, I feel like I can guess stuff from, some of the stuff that they kind of, they'll reveal, and you're like, oh, that's what's going to happen, So I felt like there was a lot of good aspects that weren't very linear.
Was it better than the movie? Sorry. Sorry. Unpopular opinion.
How do I even answer that?
I don't hate the movie, but...
I'll go back to 11-year-old Chris, maybe. I can't remember when that movie came out.
Oh my God.
That's been quite a while.
You're trying to make me
You're going to age yourself. Too? Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I saw it in the theater.
Geez, John.
1998. I was out of high school for 5 years, for fuck's sake.
98. I was 16, I think. So, Jeebus.
Yeah, the best thing about that movie, Gary Oldman, done. No surprise. So you're saying it's pretty good. So
yeah, I'm saying for what it is for TV, PG, TV PG, it was great. Like, I really did enjoy it. I do like there is some cool backstory stuff that's starting to like reveal. So they're doing some flashbacks.
Oh, cool.
That I thought were really well done too. So now, at first I'm like, well, how's the first season gonna kind of pan out? Like it's a much wider expanse of where they can go with it. So that I'm pleased with. But there's another show, I don't know if you guys are aware of, but Dark Matter.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys like that show?
I thought it was okay, but it has never grabbed me. I got to season 2 and I'm like, this is not bad. This is totally watchable, but it never like goes, must watch next episode.
Right.
Except for the one where you get sucked out the airlock and you're like,
yeah.
But that was,
I would say that it's like, I would agree with your sentiments on like, it doesn't necessarily make you want to go to the next episode, but I think it's good watching.
Yeah.
It
never disappointed an episode. The worst thing I can say about it is it reused the same tropes a little much in the first season for Dark Matter. But, there's always so much you can do sometimes. But
right.
So I don't know if you've heard of our rating scale. We've changed it since I'm on John days. It's no longer shots of Kraken. It's now how many space herpes it has. Generally, still
What's-
0 to 5
how-
scale, with more being worse, of course.
Oh, how many space herpes is? Okay, more. Yes, I guess more space herpes would be worse.
It would be worse. And if you want to know the reference, it's from Ice Pirates. If you haven't seen it, you should see it
Yeah,
with alcohol.
I think I'd give it. I think I'd a 1 on most episodes and 2 on others. Again, you know, there's only so much about your life I want to hear about your feelings. So, that's
So- As I like to call it, sometimes they need to get to the fucking monkey.
yeah, just fine with me. Just good.
Awesome.
Music though, real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys are into instrumental stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Explosions in the sky.
I'm writing it down now.
Yeah, I gotta look it up real quick.
I mean, I get to listen to music at work now, which is great. So I can spend the whole day listening.
Anything from Explosions in the Sky is phenomenal. But they just came out with a new album, and I don't know if it's new. I saw it new on Spotify, and it blew my mind away. I could not believe. But it's a great band. I like instrumental stuff quite a bit.
Yeah, I buy a lot of soundtracks and stuff. It's great. Just sometimes you need to concentrate on stuff, but you want music in the background.
Right.
No words to distract you. It's awesome.
Oh man, if you want some, if you like some like kind of heavy metal stuff, Russian Circles is a phenomenal 3-man like rock band. The guitarist is like I call it an interlooper, because seeing them live, like he's got this pedal that could fly, a spaceship to the moon. And he basically he'll play riffs, record it, and then start looping over himself and playing with, over himself, and just realizing that's what he's doing, blew my mind. And the drummer is, I play drums, and I'm like, I want to play drums like this guy. So
Awesome.
we're a really phenomenal band.
I've written both down for future perusal.
Yeah, I think it's Wilderness is the album from Explosions in the Sky that I just picked up, and I was like, wow, blew my mind. So that's where I'm at. I can't really have a lot of stuff going on that's lyrical when I'm working.
Yeah, sometimes it just distracts you. I do data entry a lot right now, and if I'm getting a complicated thing, I'm like, no, I'm turning this off, or I'm going to a different playlist that's got no words, or something in Japanese, and I'm not paying attention to words because I don't fucking understand them anyways, and concentrate on what I'm doing. Well, Japanese death metal is great because you don't understand fucking anything anyway, so who cares?
That's when you usually get caught up on your foreign film festivals.
All right. John, what do you? How many you got tonight?
3.
3? I got just 2.
Okay. You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead. Go with your first one.
So Monday I watched Sherlock episode 2.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely in. I'm gonna try and watch at least one episode a week, more if I get the time. Conspired against me this week, but it happens. I liked episode 2. I don't think I liked it quite as much as episode 1, but I felt like it was doing a good job of progressing.
Okay.
And also telling it it's great. It's a one-off story, but you also get a bonus for progression, which is cool. And I hope the 3rd episode keeps that up. Still only about 1 space herpes for it. I thought that what's his name? Let's say that Watson was a little bit more timid than he was in the 1st episode at a couple points. And I thought that felt a little off, but I mean, he's still feeling his way to the character, so I'm not going to really hold that against him right now.
Okay.
But definitely enjoyable, good solid story. I like how they're adding, basically Moriarty in everything in the background and not introducing him too quickly. It's cool.
Cool.
I'm expecting some good payoff.
Good payoff.
Yeah, I'm expecting it.
So still 0 to 1 type thing right now?
Yeah, still 0 to 1 shot. 0 to 1 space herpy.
Okay. My first one is The Colony came back.
Oh, shit.
The new season came back. It was started. 2 episodes are out right now, and I started watching it. So caught up on the current episodes. And if you're not watching Colony, it's on USA. It's the story of what happens when aliens have come down to the planet, taken over parts of the planet, and kind of regulated what we do in our life. They have humans that do most of their work and control us. And it's about a family and the resistance trying to fight them. First few seasons was in Los Angeles, I think is what it is. And like the alien technology is super, super powerful and just kicks the crap out of everybody. And so we can't fight them technology based. So it's now guerrilla fighting tactics right now. They've moved out of the cities, and now they're out in the wilderness right now. And it has been really, really good. First 2 episodes were really good. I really liked the way they were doing it, what was happening. Everything was really fun. Everything was going along really well. Characters are still good. It's happening at a good pace. So I have 0 to 1 space opera right now because it's just started.
And that one the aliens brought with them when they came to the planet, the motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah, I know.
We're actually starting to see more aliens too. They've started kind of giving sneak peeks of what the aliens look like and the alien like suits and stuff. We've only seen those suits so far. We haven't seen what's inside of it. And so they're doing a little bit more teasers, trying to give a little bit more, which is good because eventually people are going to get bored of seeing just the robots.
Yeah, you want to see. You want to see something. Yeah.
So, go ahead with yours, and after yours, we will give the giveaway away.
Okay. Well, Wednesday was the 10th anniversary of the movie Speed Racer.
Go Speed Racer. Go
Unfortunately,
Speed
at that
Racer.
point, I found out it was too late to watch a over 2-hour-long movie, so I watched it Thursday instead.
Okay.
Some people don't like this movie. I don't understand why. It's a live-action cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard reviews people are like, well, everyone's done in front of a green screen. I'm like, all right, you've missed the point. You need to wander off. It's not your movie. It's okay. But you shouldn't be reviewing the movie because you're not down with the concept.
Yep.
And there's a few movies I say that for. This is one of those. If you're not down with the live-action cartoon concept, move along. It's not going to be for you.
Yeah.
Right.
The casting is top-notch. Like, rarely do I say they could not have done anything better. They really couldn't have done anything better. Everyone's great. You got Emil Hirsch as Speed. He looks the part. He's good in it. Christina Ricci as Trixie. John Goodman as Pops. And Susan Sarandon as Mom. And I forget his name, but the kid as Spritel's great. They actually got a monkey, a chimp for Chim Chim. It's just great. And the bad guy in it is awesome because you get little hints in the beginning when he's pretending he's a nice guy that there's more darkness to him. When he comes out, he just starts chewing the scenery like he is mustache twirling villain galore. It's awesome. He just spews hatred and evil. You're like, I love to hate this guy. It's awesome. They don't bother making him like, oh, he's kind of sympathetic. No, fuck no. It's a cartoon. The villains are villains. The heroes are heroes.
It's amazing to watch in 4K.
It is like I remember it in the theater. It was amazing.
Yes.
More than any other movie that year, I was like, I should see this again because it was just so good on the screen. It tells a good story that you're not bored at any point in the story. It works in the backstory for those of you who don't know who Speed Racer is. Well, good quips. It's the Wachowskis. They did a great job. Hashtag unpopular opinion. I like this more than The Matrix.
Oh, no, I can't go with you on that one. But I did like it.
I mean, I like The Matrix, but I like this more. This is so spot on Speed Racer, and I love Speed Racer. I have every episode on DVD. And it just hits all notes. It still gets me every time. It gets emotion in me every time I watch it, which is surprising for a movie. Yeah, unabashed, love it. So cool. The music's done by Michael Giacchino, which is great. Michael Giacchino is... Hopefully he ends up being the next John Williams, because his stuff has been so good. But now John Williams is still doing music, so it's hard to match the master.
Yeah. Right.
I give it 0 space herpes. This movie is great. It's a great time.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a little bit of mixture of it's just adult enough at points that you're cool, but nothing goes crazy enough that the kids can't watch it.
Yeah.
And some of the visuals, there's a fight scene sort of in the middle where it's sort of snowing, and they use the snow, to emphasize the movement of things like you would speed lines in a cartoon. It's awesome. You should all give it a try. I love it.
I will try it.
It's good. It's a good quality. All right, let's go ahead and give this giveaway. We're going to close the giveaway starting now. And we are going to pick a winner. You can no longer enter. See, I like this new program. It does all this stuff for me. The winner for this one is Crimson 19. Dude, you have won the giveaway. I will get Chris your information. Crimson, make sure you send me your email address, and I'll send that on to Explosivo so he can get you your stuff. And you can have that.
How do we not have his email already? Come on.
We probably do. I'm just making sure because we know how that is.
His mailman's going to be like, oh, it's another thing for these Morton Dice guys. I bet you don't think mailmen do that anymore. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm showing my age again. Sorry.
So, just make sure that you make sure I have your information, your email address. That way Chris can get it to you. Just send it to me. Other than that. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Fuck sci-fi. Fuck sci-fi, fuck sci-fi, fuck sci-fi. I don't care if you don't like my cussing, but sci-fi can kiss my ass.
For those of you who don't know, they did announce that they're canceling The Expanse.
One of the greatest sci-fi shows on TV. With top ratings, 100% Rotten Tomatoes, 100% on
the
viewers.
current season's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So few things get 100%. But it's just, you were right, Gonzo. You've been saying you think it's too expensive.
Yep.
Apparently it's too expensive. But I've been listening to a lot of stuff on this. People have been talking about it. Apparently there is a fair to medium chance that Amazon might pick it up. And Netflix has been said they really want to do more sci-fi and fantasy. So they're in the conversation.
Yes.
This is too well regarded for it to just go away.
Correct. I really, really hope that it gets picked up by Netflix, because if they do, Netflix will blow that out of the water then.
I think that's why Amazon
Netflix has done a really good job on honoring, they've come out with some pretty good quality stuff that you felt like it's going to be in good hands. Nothing goes to Netflix.
I think Amazon's in the mix because they don't want to just cede all the sci-fi to Netflix, because that's once all the sci-fi fans are like, I only need Netflix, that's hard to break back into. So I think you'll see some conversation in that. Xander Void, yes, sci-fi has lost what it was, but that was a long time ago. A long time ago.
Yes.
How long has it been since sci-fi actually had a series worth of shit? I think that was called Battlestar Galactica.
Back before it was sci-fi instead of sci-fi.
Yes, and so I mean, and even then, Battlestar Galactica, the reimagining was sort of an outlier for them as an actual good series. And someone was like, we get some sci-fi, we get some reruns of stuff, but mostly it's just whatever shit we can, reality shows that really have little to do with sci-fi. I mean, somewhat in horror, which they sort of expanded to be, but they really haven't been the same since, I don't know, mid-2000s, late 2000s.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has been. And when they went to sci-fi,
for branding.
For
branding.
branding.
They can copyright that.
Yeah. It really was like, oh crap.
Yeah, but, remember Farscape had the same problem. Farscape didn't get to do it. They had to get a movie to actually finish out their series, which was good and did end the series well, but they had to fight and claw for that. So, yeah, so sci-fi, you fail us yet again.
I was so mad at that when I saw that, because I keep track of what shows are canceling, getting renewed. That way I can either wipe them off my DVR or, keep watching them, especially if I have a couple of episodes saved up, because I was actually going to start watching The Crossing. And then that got canceled. So I'm like, oh, well, I can just wipe that off the DVR.
Well, it doesn't mean you can wipe it off, but I mean it'll get somewhere streaming eventually, and you can catch it then. It's
Yeah.
not keep up for the news. And that's a dangerous thing also. Keep that in mind, guys. If you were thinking about getting the latest season of The Expanse before it becomes free somewhere, still do it. You will show Amazon or whomever, I think it's just Amazon selling it, that this is worth money and they should support it.
Yeah.
You got to put your money where you want it to be. That way people know this is what people want. They'll support it.
Yeah. I mean, the show is really good. It's got great writing. Special effects are good. It's realistic space fights. It's realistic space combat.
I still go back to that second season fight at the spin station. That was everything I ever wanted in a sort of hard sci-fi space fight. I didn't even know it. And it was short, sweet. They did a great job. I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
I will still get season 3. I will watch it. And if they don't renew it, there are books. I will pick up books and I will read books, goddammit.
You'll read the rest of it,
I can read.
I was really...
I'd rather see it because honestly, I'd like to split my time up. I got a ton of books. I'm still reading, what's that guy with the magic and the stupid stuff? Dresden. That's the one.
Dresden Files.
I'm still reading that. I took a little siesta to read some stuff, but I could talk about that, but maybe. We'll see. Time. But yeah, so...
John, I'm glad that your memory functions like mine. Guy with the magic and stupid stuff.
So,
that's how I remember people's names. You know, the dude with the face and the thing, and he's got the stuff.
As you get older, it gets worse, and I've been drinking since, I don't know, 4, so it happens. And I stopped that in the middle because I'm like a little... I'm not enamored as everyone else was. It was overhyped to me. It's not bad, but it was overhyped to me, and that happens sometimes. That's a good topic for some time, but anyways.
Black
Final...
Panther.
Oh.
I think that was like way over exaggerated. Like
it was. I thought it was very good, but not great.
Yeah.
I was just really ticked off about them. I knew it too. That's the thing. I knew it was.
You
coming.
did. You've been saying it for weeks.
I'm like, they're going to cancel it because of X, Y, Z.
Yep. But again, I said this to a guy. This is a little more deeper than I get. We'd call this a deep thought from John Spencer if you're really old school. I know the temptation is to be angry at them. Don't be angry. They are a business.
Yeah.
They are about making money. If it's not making the money, they have to. That is the right business decision. They don't always have control. They're probably a publicly traded company, and they have to make money for their shareholders.
Yes.
Don't be angry that it ended. Be happy that we got what we got. It's hard. It's the hardest thing ever. But try and be happy that you got what you got, and then be like, sci-fi, you don't make the stuff I like anymore. We're going to cut ties. This is okay. It's not me, it's you. We're parting. And then someone else will come out. I mean, Netflix is, like we said earlier, Netflix is like, we're about sci-fi and fantasy. We're going to do all the sci-fi and fantasy we can. Something will come out. It may not be as good, but maybe it'll be as close. Or maybe it will be The Expanse. Who knows? It's not done yet.
No. I have a feeling...
This is the best breakup I've ever been through, thanks to John.
I had this discussion with a guy at the store, and I'm trying to lay some wisdom on him since I'm like twice his age. Like, dude, you got to understand. This hatred's only going to hurt you. Disney doesn't care in our subject. Or in this case, sci-fi doesn't care. It's hurting you. Don't let it hurt you. Let it go. Get your zen. Be like, I'm happy I got to watch what I watched.
Yeah. So I'm ticked. I'm hoping Netflix picks it up more than anything. Please,
Yeah.
Netflix.
Have faith, Gonzo. Netflix or Amazon. They like their sci-fi. They definitely want the sci-fi guys to come and give them their money. And,
Yep.
And we will, because they have all the stuff we love.
Yep. So that was mine. What's your last one?
So go ahead and laugh at me. Based on the recommendation of the only podcast I actually listen to right now, called Junk Food Cinema. They get a lot of cult classic and movies. They did a theme in January or February, I think it was, of Girls That Rock, and did 4 movies, only one of which I'd even remotely heard of. So I watched one on their recommendation, and that movie is Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, man.
So let me start by saying, you're probably not expecting the right thing from this movie. It is not high school bullshit. It's post high school bullshit, which is much more relatable to us adults. It never gets that bad. It gets a little, if you will, CWE, but never too bad. And it's really kind of a hell of a zinger at the entire recording industry.
It is.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Hats off, Gonzo.
Yeah.
So, do you love the band du jour?
You know what?
It
was a silly, funny movie.
Yeah, it is silly at points. It is funny. I've laughed more than that than a lot of movies recently. It was really enjoyable. It's like I said, it starts with the band du jour, who's the current number one band in the world singing, and it's like Seth Green, two other guys you recognize and one guy you wouldn't. And they're singing their new hit single, Backdoor Lover. And yes, it's about exactly what you think it's about. Which is the first hint that this is not for kids. You listen to lyrics, you're like, oh shit. They're talking about that. And then they're in the plane, and the one's like, yeah, man, I kind of heard some lyrics on our remix, and what does that have? And the guy's like, listen to it, and it's Alan Cumming, the guy who played Nightcrawler in X2. And he's like, oh, I'll have answers. And he just walks to the front to the pilot and goes, take the Chevy to the levee. And he puts on a parachute and jumps out. And they crash the plane. He's like, I need to find another band. And then he finds that Josie and the Pussycats in Riverdale and takes them and makes them superstars, because it's all about subliminal messages in music to make kids buy whatever the new hotness is.
Mm-hmm.
To make them spend all their non-taxable money on whatever they can to keep the economy good. And there's more to it than that, of course. But I liked it. It was enjoyable. Music plays a solid part in it, which is good. I like musicals or any film that uses like rock music or anything to very good effect.
Yeah.
In the right moments, placed well. Something like Streets of Fire, where they have the soundtrack placed at good points. Sort of like an old school 80s movie where they did it right. You're like, this song is the exact right spot.
Yep.
Say like Top Gun. Top Gun had some good songs at the right spots. It helps. It elevates the movie. And it does it. They're in the right spots. They're in appropriate spots. They convey the right sort of meaning. And the end all has a very cheesy but poignant theme or lesson to be learned from it all. That's kind of amusing.
Yep.
And one of the best fourth wall breaks in movies, where Alexandra is sitting in there, and if you've seen Josie and the Pussycat, she's the one with the white streak in her hair, who's just an ass to everyone. And someone goes, "Why are you even here?" She's like, "I was in the comic." So very enjoyable. It is not available for free anywhere. I actually paid money for this because I had a Friday night. I'd done yard work. I'm like, I'm going to watch something. They recommended this. I've been putting it off. Boom, I'm watching this. If you can find it cheap, give it a look. It's actually enjoyable. Soundtrack is pretty solid. It's kind of punk poppy. Apparently the songs were performed by the band Letters from Cleo, and they're pretty solid. I listened to the soundtrack a couple times. It's good. I'm going to give it an amazingly high rating for it of 1 space herpy, because it was just damn enjoyable.
It was. It was just an enjoyable, silly movie.
Yeah. The humor hits. I have this big thing people may know this for a while. I don't like a lot of American comedies because they run jokes into the ground. And at a certain point, to me, a joke goes from being funny to being uncomfortable. And none of these jokes do this. All the jokes are like, as the guy says on one of the recordings, comedy has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Everything and every bit in this is a beginning, a middle, and the end. They do some callbacks occasionally, but nothing crazy. It was just very enjoyable. I was surprised. It's one of those ones I expect to be like, all right, you guys recommended this. I'm going to be blowing you up on Twitter afterwards because this wasn't that good. And it was damn enjoyable.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is it, guys. That is actually the podcast for the day. We are done. We want to thank Chris for coming on and talking about his stuff. We are excited about bringing you products. Crimson already sent your stuff to Chris, so he knows to get you your things. Guys, we'll make a decision on how or what if we decide to
stream it next Sunday. Weekend. It might not be a cast. We'll see.
We'll see. But we'll make something. We're definitely going to have Sewer Bear up probably Wednesday for y'all to listen to, because I know everybody wants to listen to Sewer Bear.
And The Adventures of Space Bear, a one-off coming up soon.
Oh yeah, that's right. Let's see what else.
Oh, all I have to say from the Adventure of Space Bears is, I am the riot! You'll have to listen to get the rest of it.
So we are out, guys.
See you guys.
I'm John.
No, I'm Gonzo.
I'm John.
No, I'm Gonzo. No.
Explosivo?
Yeah, there you go.
Question?
Question mark?
Question.
Question?
Explanation.
Guys, I'm going to actually send you to somebody called the Glitchy Bit so you can watch them.
See what they're doing.
Watch what they're doing. It's always nice to watch other people. So hang around for a little bit. Let me rate them.